Good morning. Growing up in South Florida, I spent a lot of time on the water. Did a lot of fishing. Did a lot of spear fishing. Did a lot of water skiing. After my graduation from high school that summer, we were spear fishing in about 35 feet of water. I was always looking for sunken treasure. There was a museum down in the Keys that was made out of coral rock. In that museum, they had bars of silver and Spanish coins and everything that had come out of wrecks. You heard stories all the time about wrecks that people found millions of dollars worth of treasure on. So we knew what the ballast stones would look like on the bottom and what a cannon covered in barnacles would look like and all. And all the time we were diving, we looked for sunken treasure. This one day when we were on this reef, I was swimming around the outside of the reef looking for a big grouper or something, and I noticed something on the bottom that was strange. So I swam down there to it and started fanning the sand away from it, and it was a chain. It was a big, heavy chain. Links in that chain were about this big around. They were covered in barnacles. So I went up and down a couple of times and fanned the sand off this whole chain, and it was hooked to a big anchor. An anchor that looked like what you see in somebody's tattoo or something. Had a long shaft, came down, curled up, two big spades on it, had a cross piece and a round link at the top. Was hooked to this chain. We searched the bottom for any other signs. No other signs. So I brought the anchor up. Wasn't easy. Had to put a couple ropes on it, pull it up from the boat. We got it up, took it home, stretched it out over my mother's clothesline that she didn't use anymore. Let it dry out. And I went to college. Came back from college either at Christmas or at the end of the school year. Went back in the backyard, was just messing around, looked over where my anchor should be hanging, and it wasn't there. So I went over to the clothesline and I looked, and there on the ground was a small piece of the anchor, and then there was this trail of just rusted metal flakes that went where the chain had been hanging. You know, that thing wasn't worth much. It was probably worth $200 back then. Today it might be worth $2,000, but I doubt it. But I was proud of that anchor. None of my buddies had anything like that. It was a cool anchor, and the rust had destroyed it. Reminded me of a scripture where Jesus is speaking on the Sermon on the Mount. In Matthew chapter 6, in verse 19, Jesus said, "Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy, and thieves break in and steal. But store up yourselves treasures in heaven, where moth and rust do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also." Be safe. Stay well out there.